Support for this podcast comes from CLR Clear. For the annoying mess you're facing down in your home, you can fight the clean fight with CLR Clear. Battle against calcium buildup. Go toe-to-toe with toilet scum. Duke it out with disposal rot. The entire line of powerful formulas works hard to vanquish dirt, grime, and deposits all around your home. So KO the crud. Fight the clean fight with CLR Clear. Visit CLRbrands.com to learn more.
Hear that? That's the sound of my just got a payment worth 3 months of payroll face, also known as my pay face. It happens when I can accept credit and debit cards, bank transfer, and mobile pay with Intuit QuickBooks. That's payments made easy. Wait, I thought this ad was over. Oh no, here comes my holding in a squeal in front of a customer face. And my, whoa, getting paid twice as fast face. Thanks for that, QuickBooks.
QuickBooks Payments account subject to eligibility. Twice as fast based on customer use comparison from August 2019 to July 2020.
Hello and welcome. It's our number three of our radio program. And we put on our hazmat suit to go to the third rail, my man, the third rail. The Los Angeles Dodgers, the champions of baseball. And as a reward, their manager gets to manage the All-Star game, except Dave Roberts is hinting that he may skip the Midsummer Classic because of a change in the Georgia election law. Now, we think this is silly, and we will explain there's been calls for boycotts of the Masters and the All-Star game in general. We'll get into that right now. Here it is, our number three.
Hey, thanks for listening to the Ben Maller Show podcast. It's me, Ben. Be sure to catch us live every weeknight from 2 to 6 Eastern, 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. Pacific, right here on Fox Sports Radio. You can find your local station for the Ben Maller Show over at foxsportsradio.com or stream us live every night on the iHeartRadio app by searching FSR.
Now let's get this party started.
You're listening to Fox Sports Radio.
Just days away from the start of the Major League Baseball season and a kerfluffle on our hands. Welcome in the beginning of another hour of the Ben Maller Show. We are in the air everywhere as we bloviate coast to coast, border to border, and beyond the vast and powerful microphones of FSR, emanating live from inside the factory that makes marginal sports takes, the Fox Sports Radio studios. Good to have you riding along. Shotgun. Are we still allowed to say that? I don't know. Anyway, our lead this hour comes from the intersection of sports and political activism. It's a third round, my man. We are putting on our fire retardant suit, juggling flaming fire torches while riding a unicycle, trying to avoid hitting the third rail, unless we're not. Now, specifically, this is about the uproar involving the Major League Baseball All-Star Game and also the Masters, but this is going to focus on baseball. And typically the All-Star Game is a non-issue. But like everything else these days, we have controversy. Let me give you the backstory on this so you're caught up to speed. I'll give you the truncated version of events. So last week, the lawmakers in Georgia reformed their election laws in an effort to eliminate voter fraud, which has now been deemed racism by some activists. And people are asking questions whether or not the sports world should get involved in this. And it's all because of mainly voter ID being required to vote. People upset by that. As a result, the Wokarati has sounded the bugle, and they want to punish the Peach State. They want to do that by taking the Masters out of, the Masters, the Augusta, Georgia. Like, can you really? What are you going to put it in Riviera in L.A. where the Masters has to be played there? Otherwise, just get rid of it. Don't have it. So that's a PGA story. But the All-Star Game is intriguing here because the Players Union chimed in on this and certainly implied that they would be open to the All-Star Game being pulled out of Atlanta or the suburbs of Atlanta, where the Braves now play their home games. Well, Dodgers manager Dave Roberts entered the chat. He was asked about this. He got dragged in to the story, and I don't know if you saw what he had to say. Maybe not, but Roberts certainly implied that he will consider declining the opportunity to manage the National League All-Stars, a award traditionally given to the managers in the World Series. The following year, they get to manage the All-Star game, the Midsummer's Classic. All of this because Georgia changed some of the regulations when it comes to voting. All right, so let us discuss. Now, the question, will Dave Roberts' possible boycott have any impact on changing anything? Should he do it and not manage the All-Stars in the Dodger uniform? Of course not. So I've got Ponds, Rabbit Hole, and Old News, and we will connect all of this together. Now, first of all, Dave Roberts, no different than many others in professional sports, getting dragged in to this conversation. We understand we live in the age where sports have been politicized with a tremendous cost to sports as far as television ratings are concerned, and it is a slippery slope every time it happens. In this particular case, you're talking about a baseball coach, last I checked, not a political pundit, and Roberts and anyone else for that matter who gets involved in these type of stories, they are 100% of the time pawns for the activists, right? The activist community on either side. There's activists on both the right and the left, and they drag in athletes to fit their agenda. And they're being used by the electioneers to spread the dogma. And listen, Roberts is free. If he doesn't want to manage the All-Star game, he's certainly not forced to manage the All-Star game. But if he does or doesn't manage the All-Star game, it will have no bearing on the outcome of election laws in Georgia or whether or not people watch the All-Star game. And anybody that wasn't going to watch the All-Star game is not going to all of a sudden watch the All-Star game because of this, or vice versa. Nobody watches an All-Star game to see a manager chew sunflower seeds on the top step of the dugout and stare at his lineup card aimlessly. Something else is in play here, right? Something else is in play here, and it's outside forces and whatnot. And by the way, someone else will take his place, Dave Roberts. Life will go on. And keep in mind that during the 2020 season, there was only a 2-month season. They didn't even have the All-Star game. They said, what's the point of that? We're not going to even have the Midsummer Classic. And did that affect your life in any negative way that you had a baseball season without an All-Star game? I'm going to go no.
I liked him in that spot. I really did.
Yes. And after all, it's just for a little piece of metal anyway. I mean, the whole thing. Now, in the All-Star game, you don't even get a little piece of metal. You get nothing. Now, secondly, since Dave Roberts may skip the All-Star game, how far are you going to go? How far deep down the rabbit hole do you go with this? All right, let's play this out hypothetically for the purposes of Sports Talk Radio. So Dave Roberts is implied that he may sit out the All-Star game because of this change in the election laws in Georgia. All right, All-Star games in the Atlanta area. So how far deep do you going to go in this? And let's just play this out. Like, if that's the morally right thing to do, if that's his perspective, Los Angeles is scheduled to visit Georgia June 4th, 5th, and 6th. So does that mean that the entire Dodgers traveling party would just not show up? They'd have to support Dave Roberts, right? Support your manager. He doesn't want to manage there in the All-Star game, so obviously he wouldn't want to manage there during the regular season. And, hey, by that matter, if you want to stretch this out, if baseball wants to get into the political world here, everyone in baseball scheduled to play a road game in Atlanta should just forfeit. Otherwise, they would be supporting the new voter integrity laws that were put in. And who would want that? And the Braves would then be handed, 81 wins? Because 81 home games, 81 road games. So they'd be 81-0 if every team that came in to play the Braves decided we're not going to play. We just can't handle playing there. It's just wrong. And we'll just hand you the win. And so that's 81 wins. And then the Braves would only have to win 20 of their 81 road games. They'd be a 101-win team. And then in the playoffs, the same thing would have to apply there. So everyone would be offended, and then the Braves, they'd likely have home field if they win 101 games. So let's say they don't. They'd only have to win one game on the road each series, and they'd be handed all their home wins. And then the Braves would be declared, obviously, the world champions of baseball if you go down the rabbit hole far enough because of punitive action from the Baseball community. Oh, the agony of a gifted title being handed out. All right, now, final thought here. On the general issue, which comes up a lot these days, of political activism in sports, there's something that needs to be pointed out. I think most people know this. It is a one-way street, right? It's a one-way street. The sports leagues in general and the people in the sports leagues only raise a ruckus to help activists on one side of the aisle, not the other side of the aisle. I don't recall a time where it has worked the other way. So it's a lot of preaching to the choir. There's a lot of that going on. And as far as the latest outrage that the sports world is being dragged into with calls to boycott the PGA and the All-Star game, and I've seen some very, very tawdry headlines about the big sticking point. In fact, some of my more woke fans have been sending me messages about this, about Georgia banning people from getting water online. And spoiler alert for Dave Roberts and the others who, if you read that headline, you're outraged by that. Those restrictions on food and drink for people in line to vote predate the last couple of years. Those go back at least over a decade. So the sports leagues, if they're going to hold their hat on that and say it's not right and all that, then you should have been doing this years ago. It's the term for that. It's called line warming, where essentially you give free crap out, whether it's food or drink or whatever, to people online, and you encourage them to vote a certain way for candidate X. And so they're trying to avoid that, but that's actually been in the law in Georgia for a while. So we'll see what Dave Roberts actually does. I think there's no chance the PGA is going to get rid of the Masters. I think we can forget about that. That's going to happen. And if the PGA was going to ever get rid of the Masters, it would have happened years ago with the history of actual verifiable racism in Augusta, Georgia at that tournament. They didn't get rid of it, and they've made concessions over the years, and the tournament has continued to go on, live long, and prosper, and it's a big money maker for the golf world. So I don't see that coming to an end. All right, it is the Ben Maller Show. You want to talk about any of that, you can join us here on the radio at 877-99 on Fox, 877-996-6369. We are down to the Elite Eight in college basketball, and Gonzaga continuing to dominate, but the hodgepodge of teams left. If you look at your big board right now, we have a bunch of number ones. There's Gonzaga's a number one in the West region, very much alive. Michigan, the number one in the East region, very much alive. You've got number one Baylor from the South. They're also right there, a win away from the Final Four. The one bracket where you don't have a number one seed is the Midwest, but Houston, those Cougars, not affected by the Maller voodoo that we have put on Houston sports, that has not affected the college basketball team there in Houston, but Houston, the number 2 seed, and Oregon State. So if you're looking for the lowest possible seeded teams to get to the Final Four, that would be Oregon State at number 12. They're the lowest seed left. The Beavers, Robbie, the Mariner fans, Beavers. Number 11 seed UCLA. But do you really think of UCLA as a number 11 seed because of the heritage of UCLA basketball? Probably not. And then you also have, in addition, USC, which is a football school, the Trojans, the men of Troy. Southern Cal is a number 6 seed. So that's what the card looks like at this point in collegiate basketball. And we will be down to 6. That's it. Half a dozen teams in college basketball at the end of the day. All right, it is the Ben Maller Show. Letting bygones be bygones, but is that actually the case? We'll get to that, and we will do it next.
I don't want anyone touching the balls after that. I don't want anyone rubbing them. To me, those balls are perfect.
Be sure to catch live editions of the Ben Maller Show weekdays at 2 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Pacific on Fox Sports Radio and the iHeartRadio app.
What's up, everyone? It's me, 3-time NFL All-Pro Sean Marion, and I have a new sports podcast called the Lights Out Podcast with Sean Marion. This podcast is special to me as I get a chance to talk to some of the best who've ever done it on the field or the track. So whether it's talking to a Super Bowl champion or a NASCAR Cup Series champion, the Lights Out podcast will bring it to you the only way I know how to. I'm giving you the best insight from the best who've ever done it. Listen to Lights Out with Sean Merriman on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcast.
It's crazy how much we have to pay for outdated, impersonal healthcare, and even crazier that we all just accept it. It's time to face facts. Healthcare is backwards. Luckily, there's Forward, a new approach to primary care that's surprisingly personal and refreshingly straightforward. Forward never makes you feel like just another patient. Backed by top-rated doctors and the latest tech, Forward gives you access to personalized care whenever you need it. Using in-depth genetic analysis and real-time blood work, Forward's top-rated doctors provide you with in-depth insights to better understand your genetics, mental, and physical health. They then create custom, easy-to-understand plans to help guide you to achieving long-term health. With Forward, you get unlimited in-person visits with your doctor and access to care anytime via the Forward app, all for one flat monthly fee. It's time to stop accepting backwards healthcare and start moving your health forward. Visit GoForward.com today to learn more. That's GoForward.com.
Support for this podcast comes from CLR Clear. If stubborn shower mold has you miffed, or you're hard-pressed to get rid of hard water buildup, it's high time you kick your so-so cleaning products to the curb. It's time to fight the clean fight with the CLR Clear family of products. CLR Clear knows there's all kinds of dirty, which is why they offer products to help you take on messes all around your home. So go on and fight off that countertop crud. Square up with those carpet stains. Go crazy on your garbage disposal gunk. CLR Clear has formulas to help you get the dirty deeds done. Plus, many of their products meet the EPA's Safer Product Standard. So while tough on messes, it's still the safer choice for your family and the environment. Show dirt and grime around your home who's boss with CLR Clear and fight the clean fight. Learn more about the entire product lineup by going to clrbrands.com.
Listen up, Maller Militia. The Ben Maller Show is the show of the people, by the people, for the people. Join the movement and follow your host on Twitter. He's at Ben Maller. And you can tweet at and follow our technical producer. He plays all the music and most funny sound bites of the Ben Maller Show. His first name is Roberto. His last name is Flores. You can follow him at Raider_Rob24.
Arriba, arriba, arriba. Ándale, ándale, epa!
And live from the Fox Sports Radio studios, it's Ben Maller.
Letting bygones be bygones. We'll get to that. Also, we have the Insta advice line coming up later in the hour for your enjoyment. Get back to the calls in a minute. Chip in the queue says, Ben, why isn't the voodoo working on the Cougars? If I were you, I'd get in touch with your witch doctor and demand a partial refund. Now, Chip, listen. Let me tell you something right now, Chip. We have destroyed the Astros, the Rockettes, and the Texans. Can't get greedy. I didn't sign up for the voodoo portion, the voodoo boogaloo for college. It's focused on professional sports. Just Josh writes in, says, great monologue, Ben. Always enjoy when you dust off the Louisville Slugger and tee off on the Wokarati crowd. This isn't softball, you pussy willows. Well, that term, very popular. That's a very popular flower there. Matt, the Warrior Raider A's fan, says, I'm looking for a show angle to the Elite Eight matchups. I think we've got Robbie versus Chris, the matchup today. Robbie deserves some happiness, so I'm rooting for Oregon State. Houstonians need to keep suffering. He says. Inca Terror from New York writes and says, A++ monologue. I love bashing the Wokarati with math. Surely their least successful subject in school. All right, let's go to the phones right now, and let's say hello to, by the way, we still have Charlie on hold. Charlie would like someone to duke it out with him in the octagon. So far, no one's taken the challenge. Let's go to Chris in Houston. Hello, Christopher.
Why do you like entertaining them? You want them folks to come after you, don't you? Leave them little sensitive folks alone, okay? Look here, man. Them folks wouldn't change some laws that they should never change because they blamed it on some so-called voter fraud when it wasn't because the court said it didn't. But, yeah, we're going to keep going. When the court's on your side, you want to go.
Chris, do you have an ID?
What? Yes, I have an ID.
So what's the problem with showing your ID? What's the problem with showing your ID?
Ben, the thing is they went changing laws because of one man whined about losing an election.
Well, no, but what's the point? But don't you think it's a good idea, though, Chris? I mean, don't you think it's a good idea that if you have to vote, you should show an ID?
It's a lot of laws in Georgia that are very,
Chris,
very
racist. That's a simple question. Simple question, Chris. Do you think it's a problem to have to show your ID to vote?
I think it's a problem. You got to show your ID to vote. I mean, in Texas,
No, you don't. There's a lot of places you don't have to show your ID to vote.
Yes, they do. Yeah, I'm guaranteeing. Yes, they do.
You're guaranteeing that. What is your evidence, Chris?
That you just can't walk up and say, I'm going to vote. Come on, Ben. Get off the gas.
People do it all the time, Chris. Listen, Chris, I know you're living in your little bubble there, but people do it all the time. Where? It's called write-in voting. You don't have to show an ID to write in vote.
What? Because that's called mail-in voting. It's always been mail-in voting.
But isn't that voting? Isn't that voting, Chris, though? Is that not voting and not showing your ID?
And you have to send your information in, Ben. It's the same thing as you do anything else.
But the good thing is, Chris, we agree. You should have to show your ID to vote. So there's no really debate here. There's no debate. Let's end this
very
simple.
Right now. Did the judges, the 60 judges that the Republicans did, we don't want to get too much. Didn't they say it was no merit, it was no voter fraud?
But again, Chris, that's not what I'm talking about. I didn't bring that up. I'm talking about there were some laws changed last week. Some rules were changed in Georgia, and Dave Roberts has been asked by some in the media to sit out the All-Star game. He's considering it. That's why we brought this up. They want to boycott the Masters. They want the PGA to boycott the Masters and Major League Baseball to boycott the All-Star game. And I think it's ridiculous. You think that's a good idea, Chris, to sit out the All-Star game and the Masters? You think that's a good thing?
Look, you follow your own path. You don't follow somebody else's path.
Well, no, I'm asking you a simple question, Chris. Yes or no? Do you think it's a good idea? You think that'll change anything? You think that's a really good hill to die on?
No.
Okay.
No. All
right,
does
then
is
we agree on
people
that.
like normal because, look here, the activists have been doing this for decades. They've always wanted to get athletes.
Lately they've been very successful. Lately, for a long time, athletes stayed out of it, but lately they've been all in on it.
Yeah, these athletes. You got a lot of soft athletes that believe they can make change when they really can't make change. But if they got the belief in them, let them be about them. Let them do their own thing. But, I mean, look here, Charlie disappointed me, man. Charlie disappointed me. Now, Charlie called back. Now, I'm glad he called back. But he ain't had me disappointed after them 2 losses in San Antonio with the Clippers. He didn't call to defend the squad. I'm an advocate. You got to defend your squad, man. Either 1-2 days. I mean, what is it, like a 48-hour hold on that?
Chris, if Charlie had called up here and the Spurs had won for some odd reason those 2 games, Charlie would have been bouncing off the walls. He would have been, so excited. It would have been the greatest thing in the world. But instead, of course, he didn't call up the one night. Then the second night, he just played it off and didn't even really make a big deal about it.
Now you love to bash the Houston teams, but they still have better success than your sorry Clippers will ever have. And will they ever
is that right? Let's take a look at the NBA standings right now. How are the Rockets doing? Page down, page down, page down.
Who cares?
Who cares? That's the point. You're living in the past. You're becoming a historian. Live in the moment, the here and now. Houston sports blows. By the way, is there going to be another lawsuit filed against Deshaun Watson for being a creeper? Is there going to be another lawsuit filed against him?
Hey, that's the cuddler, man. Leave the cuddler alone. He just wanted to cuddle up. That's all. He's trying to get
he's a cuddler. He loves him. Yeah, exactly. But the good news is in the entire NBA, there are only 2 teams that have fewer wins than the Rockets. The Timberwolves and the Pistons, period, stop. Everyone else has a better record than the Houston Rockets. Your Houston Rockets, Chris, your team.
Hold on, before I go. Now, that right there is a genius. They traded a protected first-round pick, Ben, so they didn't find out that, hey, if we tank the season, then we probably could get a top 4 pick. So, hey, why not?
Okay, there you go. It's all part of the evil plan. All right, go away, Chris. Thank you. It's Chris in Houston chiming in. All right, who else do we have? Let's see. Page down. We'll go to the phones. Let's say hello to Jed, who fled from somewhere in the bowels of Florida.
Oh, we need a court update, right? Didn't go to jail? Or?
That's right. Yeah. I guess he's not.
Yeah, I'm calling you from isolation. You know, hey, that's very creative, dude. You played about 3 times within 60 seconds, Roberto. All right, the thing, oh man, you zing me. I got a public defender, dude. So I'm probably gonna go to prison. But I mean, that's the way it goes. But I'm gonna string it out like several months, several hearings. So I'm gonna be free for like 8 or 10 months. That's okay.
So how much jail time? Oh, wait. How much jail time are you looking at here, Jed? What are we looking at?
Man, I'm going to tell you the honest God truth, dude. I did not do the thing that for once in my life. I would not do the thing, so I'm probably going to take it to trial. And if they're able to pin it on me, they're going to make an example of me, dude. They're going to max out the burglary charge, dude. And I don't leave my vehicle. That's my thing. I don't leave the vehicle, dude, because I'm not getting shot.
All right, hold on
like that.
So who did you burglarize? Who are you accused of being a burglar against? Like, what did you do? Or they say
Are you working with the police, dude? This is a nationally syndicated radio. It's going to be recorded.
I'm just curious. It's the middle of the night. No one's listening. It's the middle of the night. Who the hell would listen to a radio at this time of the night?
That's the thing, Ben. That's going to be part of my argument. I was on hold this night. I'm pretty sure, this night. This is happening, and I didn't get out of the vehicle. But I'm saying if they do convict me, because you know how the system is.
Wait, hold on a second. So you've been charged with a crime that you say while the crime was being committed, you were on hold to try to get on our show.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm kind of thankful because like the people were wanting me to get involved. I'm like, look, it's my vehicle here at 3 a.m., dude. That's enough. All right, and I'm on hold with this guy Ben Maller, and they're like, "What?" They don't even understand that, and they're all flat out on drugs.
Well, you didn't really answer like the original question, like how much time.
Chris didn't answer any of your questions. He didn't answer any of your questions, dude. Not one. All right, go ahead. Chris didn't. Houston sucks.
That's what about him? You're doing what about him? What about him? He didn't.
Well, they're called non-document ID requirements. Non-document ID requirements. 16 states have them, Chris. Okay.
Yeah.
Leave
that alone. Whatever. All right. Listen. Here's the deal. All right. So if you are convicted, what are we looking at? 5 years, 2 years, 3 years, 1 year? What are we looking at?
No more than 15, no less than
50?
3.
Holy crap!
Yes, it's a second-degree felony, dude. It's not happening, dude. Listen. I know how to tie.
Well, can't you get like a plea deal, or can't you get a plea deal or something like that?
I can, dude, but there's no way I stay off narcotics for the length of the duration of probation, dude, and then I do the full sentence, and it's just like. They got me by the short, but hey, if this ain't a drug charge, I'm gonna snitch on the person that did it. Dog.
All right. I gotta go. Thank you, Jed. Though, good luck there. Wow, he's facing 3 to 15.
I don't know that announcing that you're going to snitch on someone on a national radio network is a good idea. But I guess they don't listen to the show. He said
no one's listening, Eddie. It's all right. It's perfectly fine. My God. All right.
I know you've gotten like inmate mail, and we had we did have a guy call us. The King Eddie guy actually allegedly called us from the lockup, right?
Yeah.
I don't know that Jed's going to get that.
He was in for like a white collar crime, and he has a sleep condition where he sleeps like an hour a day or something like that.
That's what he claimed. Yeah.
He disappeared though. The King Eddie guy vanished as soon as. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see what happens with Jed. We should have that guy from Venice that calls up as our attorney. We should have him go down to Florida and be Jed's attorney. How about
that would be great, yes.
Wouldn't that be wonderful? Because, I mean, you've got just as good a chance of winning whether you have a public a defender or a guy from Venice.
No. Hey, what's happening, Ben? Anyway.
Remember, we did have an attorney. I mean, he might have been retired, though, but in Florida, he called us up and told us all about.
That was the Bob Kraft.
Yes, he was right on the
poisonous
money.
Tree.
Maybe that guy can help
poisonous tree.
Yeah, he's there in Florida.
Yeah, we didn't have to pay him. He called us up right when that Robert Kraft story broke with the Patriots and gave us what turned out to be the get out of jail free card for Robert Kraft.
He nailed it.
Yeah, he got 100% correct right away. Everyone had Kraft convicted. He's going to have to, whatever. It's not going to be that big a deal, but he's going to have to pay a fine or whatever. And this guy says, no. All that evidence, the fruit of the poisonous tree, you have to throw it all out. And sure enough, that turned out to be the way it worked for Robert Kraft.
Be sure to catch live editions of the Ben Maller Show weekdays at 2 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Pacific.
All right, here's the Ben Maller Show as we press on. Blake says, have you looked at the lines for the Elite Eight? All are -7 or more. Other than the Zags, it seems all these games have been tight. Thinking of taking all the dogs, Blake said. Well, I would have to do my copious amounts of research before I am ready to go down that road. But, you look at the point spreads. You got a couple of games today, a couple of games on Tuesday. We'll have the Final Four by Tuesday night all set up. But if you look at the point spread here, as of this particular moment, the lines, I got them right here. I'll punch these up here in the NCAA tournament. Yikes. I got to I'm looking at this, and your instinct would be to take in the tournament, for example, the South. You have Arkansas that is playing Baylor. Baylor is the number 1 seed. They opened up a 6-point favorite. They are up to 7.5 over Arkansas. Oregon State getting 8 against Houston. USC getting 9 against Gonzaga. And UCLA getting 7.5 against Michigan. Michigan favored by the 7.5. I'd have to look at it more, but it just seemed terrible. The other thing, too, is you have the choke factor. The teams, obviously, the number 1 seeds. You look at Michigan, Gonzaga, and Baylor. You say, well, they're clearly superior teams, and they should blow out the opposition and all that. But the choke factor in a big situation with 1 win to go to the Final Four, you're like, oh, crap. Guys get that tight Tuchus syndrome, and all it takes is a couple of the key players on these other teams, and then you are set up. You are set up. Meanwhile, all right, now let bygones be bygones. What is this all about? We go to Major League Baseball. The cheating Astros, former player George Springer, who's currently injured for the Dunedin Blue Jays, formerly the Toronto Blue Jays, formerly the Buffalo Blue Jays. The Dunedin Blue Jays, George Springer, signed a big free agent contract for $150 million as the country of Canada embracing cheaters, although they don't embrace their baseball team because the team's been sent to Florida for the season. Anyway, at least the start of the season, Ross Stripling, who's a right-handed pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays, was on the 2017 Dodgers, the team that had the World Series stolen from them by cheating George Springer and the Astros. Well, now they're teammates in Dunedin, and Ross Stripling revealed over the weekend that he had a text conversation with George Springer, and they had a conversation about that tainted World Series, the illegal activity of the Astros. And when asked to specifically expand on what was said, Ross Stripling muzzled up. He said it was a private conversation between me and George, and certainly nothing we want to share in the open. But it was a good, productive conversation. We put it behind us. Close quote. Said, we're now teammates. We're Blue Jays, Ross Stripling said, and we're looking to win games here. He added, it's behind us for sure, but definitely needed to touch on it. Close quote. Now, at the time when this scandal came out, Ross Stripling made some comments that indicated he was not happy with the Astros, and he was not happy with George Springer and those guys that cheated in Houston. I know you got to play the political game, and you got to play it down the middle and all that. But I'd like to think that Ross Stripling read George Springer the Riot Act. I would like that. It started as a text conversation, and then Ross is just F you, screw you, blankety blank, 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 you M blank, 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 S this, S that, blank, 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 you C blank, blank, blank. Just go on and on like that.
It's wishful thinking on your part. It doesn't sound like Ross Stripling is the kind of player who would.
You think he's soft? Are you saying he's soft, Roberto? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not calling him soft, but I don't think he has that demeanor.
He's laid back. He's relaxed. He's mellow.
Yeah,
mellow Ross.
You agree, Ryan?
Yeah.
A little bit. I have listened to one of the podcasts that he did a podcast for a while when he was on the Dodgers, and he does have a little bit of an edge though. So I could see it maybe coming out a little bit. So
didn't have that edge on the mound though.
That's true.
Problem.
That's true.
Need that edge on the mound.
Yeah.
They should have a World Series ring with the Dodgers. Shame.
Yeah.
All right. K&D writes in from Florida, and she says, I believe that is the first time Jed Who Fled called the Ben Maller Show. He has just been released from jail. Now the last time we hear from him, he will be going back to prison. K&D. says relating to that. Let's see. Can't read that one on the air. Justin in Cincinnati has a bet about Jed in prison. Rob, the GOAT man, says the court of public opinion says Jed is guilty. Guilty. Robbie, the Mariner fan, says Jed having more knowledge than Chris on the voting laws is really something. Terrible look for Chris. All right. Very good. Very, very good. Let's go back to the – actually, we don't have time to go to phones right now because everyone hold. You can be part of the Insta Advice Line. Unscreened radio. Unscreened radio. The safety net is off. If you would like to recommend someone in sports that needs our advice, someone that needs the wisdom, the knowledge, the foresight of the Maller Militia, you can send that in on Twitter. I have an idea of who we're going to give advice to, but if you want to recommend somebody better or sway me, I'm open to it. I'm not locked in 100% on the person that I have selected for the Instant Advice Line, but we will do that. Unscreened phone calls from the knuckleheads in the Maller Militia. We'll get to that on a full moon, mind you, with a full moon out there in the heavens. We'll get to that, and we will do it next.
I'd like to talk about the Houston Astros, who are miserable cheaters.
That's a good politician right there.
Fox Sports Radio has the best sports talk lineup in the nation. Catch all of our shows at foxsportsradio.com. And within the iHeartRadio app, search FSR to listen live.
Geico knows there are many reasons why you ride. From the exciting adventure of the daily commute to the peace of mind that Geico always has your back with 24/7 access to claim service and legendary customer service. But Pamela Mund had one reason in particular.
My skin is extremely averse to most fabrics, except for the soft, buttery feeling of leather. Thankfully, I found my clan of leather lovers in the biking community. It's been life-changing.
Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Is that Shakespeare?
Nope, it's Geico.
Yeah, that's Shakespeare from one of his unpublished works. Oh, it be not for awakening. Nay, giveth thou the berries. For 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
No, it's from Geico, because they help save people money.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but Geico got it from Shakespeare.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
To show you how easy it is to file a claim with Geico, we hired a soap opera star.
Gracious me, my car has storm damage and I've had to file a claim. Could it possibly get worse? Will my claims team leave me for someone else? Someone less intense?
No. Actually, when you file a claim with Geico, you get your own dedicated claims team who promises to stay with you throughout the process.
Oh, I've never known such loyalty. I can't wait for the second season.
Geico. Great service without all the drama.
From the first moment you tune in, you know the Ben Maller Show is not your garden variety sports talk. We welcome all the freaks of nature to the Maller Militia. Facebook's an online amusement park for all of us. You can chat with other super fans of the show. It's simple and it's free. Help support our show by liking our page. Go to facebook.com/Ben Maller Show. And now live from the Fox Sports Radio studios, it's Ben Maller.
Hey, you sports figure guy or girl.
Who the hell are you talking to, son?
Here's some instant advice.
Hold that thought. No one's paid attention to me for 10 whole seconds.
And if you don't like it, screw you.
And away we go. It's the Insta Advice Line, Unscreened Radio. The safety net is off. Who needs our advice in the wacky world of sports? Well, there's a lot of people complaining about everything these days. One of them is Alvin Kamara of the New Orleans Saints. He says the 17-game schedule is dumb, although he used a different word in addition to dumb to describe the 17-game schedule, which was agreed to by the union over a year ago. But what is your advice to Alvin Kamara of the Saints to deal with having to play an extra game, a 17-game schedule? You're live on the air when you hear my voice at 877-99 on Fox. We're giving advice to Alvin Kamara of the Saints on how to deal with the 17-game schedule. And we'll start out with you on line one. You're on the air, line one. Go. Your advice to Alvin Kamara of the Saints on dealing with the 17-game schedule.
Suck it up, Buttercup.
All right, thank you for that. Line 2, you're next. That's what we want, right? Great advice right away. No dilly-dallying. Go right to the point. All right, you are next. Line 2, advice to Alvin Kamara of the Saints on dealing with the 17-game NFL schedule. All right, line 2's not there. We'll go to line 3. Hello, line 3. You're on the air. Go.
Grow up.
Okay, thank you. Yes, line 4, you're next. Line 4, we're giving advice at 877-99 on Fox. To Alvin Kamara of the Saints. He was complaining about the extra game they've tacked on to the NFL schedule. Hello, you're on the air. Go.
Eddie's number 1, Ben, you're number 2, always.
Well, number 2, and you're bad at math, actually. See, if you look at that the right way, it's the Ben Maller Show on the top of the headline. All right, top of the fold there, the marquee. You're next, line 6. You're on the air. Go, line 6.
I'm Fudgy Kamal. I'm Fudgy the Whale's cousin, and Tammy from Montana makes my ice cream hard.
All right, thank you for that, Fuzzy. So glad that you called in. All right. Play another game. People loved you when you played the game show. It was a lot of fun. All right, you're next. We'll run through the board again here. It's the instant advice line for Alvin Kamara of the Saints on dealing with the 17-game NFL schedule he said was dumb. All right, you're next. Hello, you're on the air. Go. All right, you're not there. You hung up. Bad job by you. We'll skip over here. Line 3, you're on the air. Go.
Hey, Roberto, I wanted to hear about that tuna fish sandwich.
All right, thank you for that. Line 6, you're on the air. Line 6, go. All right, we'll move on there. Will we hear from the Where's My Baseball guy? Inquiring minds would like to know. Hello, line number 4. Line 4, you're on the air.
I don't need therapy. I need 14 werewolves. Oh,
oh, yes, the full moon is in effect. Oh, it's out there, the worm moon. All right, you're next. Hello, you're on the air. Line 5, go, line 5.
Don't forget to eat your Wheaties.
Oh, was that our friend from Vegas? I think that was. All right, line 1, you're next here. Line 1, you're on. That sounded like our friend MGM John. Hello, line 1. All right, you might want to see a doctor, sir.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound healthy. Whatever that was does not sound healthy. Sounds like a situation. All right. We've not heard from Pencil Neck Ray. We've not heard from the Where's My Baseball guy or the Pokey guy or the Peyton Manning's the greatest ever guy. That guy hasn't called up in a while. Hello, line 3. You're on the air. Go ahead, line 3.
Oh, they should listen to Lionel Richie. Hello, is it me you're looking for?
All right. Thank you for that. Advice to Alvin Kamara of the Saints on how to deal with the 17-game NFL schedule. It's unscreened radio. The safety net is off.
Where are the white women at?
Not calling here. No women are calling. 877-99 on Fox. Hello, line number 4. You're on the air, line 4.
I'm only going to be making $300,000 for 35 minutes worth of work. What's wrong there?
All right, thank you for that. All right, line 6, you're next. Line 6 is the instant advice line for Alvin Kamara of the Saints.
At the end of the day, you got to take it one game at a time.
Okay, thank you. Yes. Sports cliche guy checking in. Line 1, you're on the air. Number 1.
Get the money, man. Dollar bill.
Okay, thank you. Line 2, you're next. Line 2, we're giving advice to Alvin Kamara of the Saints on dealing with the 17-game NFL schedule. Hello.
He should complain about them extra chips he going to have on his check at the end of the season.
That's right. Look at that Sean the Hood guy with sound advice. All right, one more, only one more. And keep trying, Ryan Bershinger. Pick the final call, Ryan.
Line 1, you're on the air.
Line 1, go. Oh,
Be sure to catch live editions of the Ben Maller Show weekdays at 2 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Pacific on Fox Sports Radio and the iHeartRadio app.
Streaming only on Peacock.
John Wayne Gacy killed 32.
Straight from the killer's mouth.
They want you to believe that I alone committed these murders.
The new gripping 6-part documentary series, John Wayne Gacy, Devil in Disguise. All episodes streaming now, only on Peacock.
Are you One Tree Hill obsessed? Are Brooke, Peyton, and Haley your BFF goals? Join Sophia Bush, Hillary Burton, and Bethany Joy Lenz on the Drama Queens podcast to relive, relove, and rewatch every One Tree Hill minute.
There are no fans like One Tree Hill fans. There is no family like our family. So we got together to do a rewatch podcast to relive the show as so many of you have.
Listen to Drama Queens on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.